Let's continue talking to these people, I suppose.
I'd gladly hear your opinion on the situation.
Finally, someone reasonable. It's obvious Henselt bribed some serf who then did what he was told.
Obvious, huh?
The local peasants love Saskia.
Those surly dogs would gleefully accept a heavy pouch. Show me a serf with any sense of honor.
That's interesting.
Just think it through. The prince couldn't have done it. The wine was in plain sight. Only the servants touched the decanters, and who are they? Commoners. Then that same commoner incited his folk to stand against the nobles and the prince.
Something to think about.
Not really.
Enough of this charade!
Not enough of this charade. I need to talk to everyone, so you shut up. Who did I talk to? Or was it these guys? Scalen. Not you.
I want to speak with the prince.
You're unique then. Everyone else wants to tear him limb from limb.
We won't let you in.
Only I can help your prince.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that?
Are you mad?
Silence! I'm in command here, and I grant the Witcher leave to enter.
Please, Master.
Are you here to kill me, Monster Slayer?
I'm here for your help. You can save Saskia.
Do you hear them? They want my head. They equate the words of some village idiot with mine. I am the heir to the Edirnian throne, the rightful ruler of this land, descendant of Demavend and Verferil.
Prince, if you help me heal Saskia, the people will forget.
So if I don't help you, they'll kill me. This is blackmail.
This is a deal.
What do you want?
So we're assuming he's not guilty. In a very jarring way as well, because we could say something against him, where I made Geralt say I don't like Stennis, and now there's no way not to do that, which means that he is not the one that poisoned Saskia. But I'm still gonna ask if he's the one that poisoned Saskia.
Did you poison her?
Of course not. Even if I had, do you think I would boast about it? Don't be a fool.
I'm trying to help. Not only Saskia, but you, your highness.
I won't yield to that rabble. Never. One smear is all they needed to lay siege to my doorstep. Do you really think I should plead my innocence every time some village idiot says the prince did it? Or maybe go out there and beg them for mercy? Never!
You merely need to convince them that you're innocent. Prove it wasn't you and they'll walk away.
And if I am innocent, yet lack proof thereof? You claim you wish to help me. Do so. Convince the people to believe me. You'll not regret it.
You're trying to bribe me.
I want only to make a contract. Think about it.
He's thinking. He thought hard about that. It's kind of interesting, his attitude towards the smears against him. If indeed he is innocent, in which case it would be smears, but if he's guilty, then it would be just accusations. They are still accusations right now, but if he's innocent, those are also smears. Historically speaking, people don't like their kings. It's largely a fabrication of... it started with Romanticism, I think. Romanticism... Is it Romanticism or Romantism? I don't know, actually, how it is in English. But I think it's Romantism. It could be something else. Romanticism? Either way. In the 18th century and the 19th century, there's a large literary current that largely influenced every literary current after that, and still influences us to this day, that prioritizes... really prioritizes minutia, and prioritizes a certain type of chaos in stories and in characters and in architecture. It really is like a society all throughout society, or at least throughout the richer people in society, in European society. It just permeates everything, really. But starting from there, that's where it really comes, this sort of notion that kings are personalities. That's not to say that kings weren't personalities. Some kings were personalities in the public consciousness in different countries and at different times. But largely speaking, that's not the case. Both because media didn't exist up until very, very recently, but also because the lack of power that serfs had, and when I say lack of power, is the zero power that serfs had, really didn't necessitate for them to have an opinion on the king. So what happened a lot is that just people would not like their kings and would not like nobility and would just outright say bad things about the king and would accuse them of doing all manner of treacherous things. You can see that in some texts. You can see hints of it because a lot of the literature didn't really concern itself with the opinions of just the I say, is it serfs in English? Plebs, I suppose, would be, yeah, plebs. Yeah, a large part of the literature doesn't concern itself with the opinions of the pleb. But you see modes of that sort of public lack of consciousness about their kings, and certainly it was very common for people just to badmouth nobility. In fact, you can see that as well in the way the clergy treats bad-mouthing of the clergy, starting roughly with the 13th and 14th century. It's kind of complicated, and it is sort of a precursor. There's some councils of the Catholic Church specifically that start a trend that eventually just sort of doesn't necessarily culminate, but leads to Inquisition, like big actions like the Inquisition and torture and a bunch of other things, and the association of crusades with moral purity as well. It's all connected, specifically in regards to the Catholic Church. And it's very complicated, and I'm super oversimplifying. What I'm saying is the attitude that the plebs had towards the clergy and towards the nobles, especially up until the 12th and 13th century in Europe, was really a stance of really just a stance of, I hate them, they are terrible, and they would accuse them constantly of all the bad things. The clergy didn't stand for that for too long, and the nobles, some nobles were really upset about that, but generally that wasn't much of a case, because there's really nothing to lose from the plebs accusing a noble. And this sort of what's going on here, this trial by fire sort of situation that Stennis is under right now, is completely justified in the world of The Witcher, but it's justified because it's a very localized kind of deal. He's trapped in his room, and he's in foreign lands, and I think it's foreign lands. Either way, he's not in his castle. He doesn't have his guard and all that. So it's very much a contextual thing, and the kings did die from this. The kings that got themselves into this situation throughout Europe have died in situations where it was kind of dumb. Why did they get themselves into it? And Stennis is in a bad situation here, but it has nothing to do with the politics of, whether plebs have a bad opinion of their king. And I think it's interesting that this game, and the reason why I'm rambling about this is that indirectly the game is sort of putting kings in a station here that doesn't make sense in the world of The Witcher, and honestly, it would be a lot cooler for the world of The Witcher to showcase people just having a bad opinion of their kings all of the time, and just also because that is a clear consequence of people having no power, and him being like, oh, do you think every time somebody ratios me on Twitter, I'm gonna cancel myself or something? That's kind of disingenuous, and it doesn't really. Yeah, for one, it's ahistorical, which is fine, I suppose, but because this is not history, but it definitely paints this world in a very shallower stroke, in a very shallow stroke, because it also doesn't make sense that he would say this. This is they are outside your door, dude. It's not about politics. It's about them going to kill you because they got it into their heads that you are the one that killed their savior. And so, yeah.
I need royal blood for a potion that will heal Saskia.
Do you mock me?
You owe Saskia your life. She carried you away from the Wraith's battle.
It was her duty, as it would have been of any Edirnian. Besides, my realm is falling apart, and she is responsible. Saskia and her rebels routed the royal forces at Gillette and on the banks of the Dyffny. For practical purposes, the Edirnian army no longer exists.
Those rebels are the last hope you have of stopping Henselt.
And what then? A pig herd will be crowned and appoint a shoeshine his Secretary of State.
Don't think that far ahead. Your Highness, just a few drops of your blood will cure Saskia. Vergen can defend itself only if she's in command.
I've already said I owe this girl nothing. I'll not yield to blackmail even if it costs me my life. I'll go to the axe, my head held high. And I'll certainly not surrender even a drop of royal blood to save a peasant girl. Guards!
What is it, sire?
Show the Witcher out.
Is everything in order, sire?
We had a chat, but we are through. Think on what I told you, Geralt.
I will.
Enough of this charade!
No, not enough. He's definitely guilty. He is absolutely guilty. The way he acted like that.
This is nonsense.
And he went back to the thing about pig herds and whatnot. That's yeah. Anyway, this guy keeps saying that he wants to talk to me, I think.
What do you want?
We of noble birth always had to protect the plebs from their own stupidity. If not for us, the world...
I don't have time to listen to songs praising the nobility. Know anything about the attempt on Saskia's life?
No, I don't. But whatever the truth, the mob cannot lynch one of royal blood.
So truth means nothing to you. That's what makes us different.
I didn't say I don't care about truth. Just keep in mind there's a world order that mustn't be destroyed.
An order that allows injustice.
If the prince turns out to be involved in this attempted murder, he should face a tribunal. The rabble doesn't understand the principles ruling the world.
Or they do understand them and simply don't like them.
Saskia is a wise woman, but there's one thing she doesn't take into consideration. This war will be over one day. Who will sow the crops and milk the cows then? Saskia called the serfs to arms. Do you think they'll want to plough fields again?
You may be right, but it's certainly not my business who'll plough your fields. Farewell.
That doesn't make any sense. She called them to arms. What? War is terrible. Why would they want to even fight, let alone... Why would they... I like the fact that they like her after she raised them as levies. That doesn't make any sense. It's like super dumb. What a bad take. That was it's like oh my god. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I get the gist, I suppose. But yeah. So I think me knowing about Stennis is probably better instead of having this guy say it was whatever. So you can get almost everybody to talk to you except one. Okay, let's have this. Enough of this. I'm gonna talk to Stannis just to make sure that happens because I've been reloading the moment the game prohibits me from doing things. There's an exclamation mark over here. But that's these guys, right? Oh yeah, it's the ones that we talked to.
Why is he lingering about?
Farewell.
Farewell, yeah. So we can actually talk to them over and over again, and they don't get upset. Anyway.
Enough of this charade!
Try to be reasonable, folks. Sit down and talk in peace.
We've talked enough! Come on, lads, let's drag the prince from his hovel!
Vergen's not a cesspit for anyone to shit in. There are laws to abide, and Scalen Burden's job is to uphold them.
There's no law allowing a serf to threaten a king's scion. I, Silgrat, brother of Seltkirk, the greatest knight to walk Edirnian land, say so.
Does it matter who was born in a castle and who in a pigsty? Any fool can prejudge and condemn. It's easier to accuse than to prove guilt.
A peasant servant claims that Prince Stennis supposedly attempted to kill Saskia. Why would the prince do such a dastardly deed? Bear in mind how eminent is his lineage.
That's why. The mongrel covets the crown.
Do you even remember how valorous he was towards Saskia during the negotiations with Henselt?
Pretending to be with her he was, sly fox. Taking the simple peasants in. But us lads ain't so dumb as you lords think.
See for yourselves how the commoners hate the prince, spitting venom like adders. They hatched a plot to dispose of him.
Saskia's servant said that...
Where is this servant, might I ask? If he's got something to say, why does he hide like a thief? The answer is simple. He's a fraud.
He's hiding to save his skin from you, whoresons. Squirrels have to guard him.
One last question. How could the prince poison Saskia? It's a known fact that servants taste wine from the barrels before the virgin sips it.
No need to poison the wine. Smearing the poison inside the chalice would be enough.
I never heard of anyone poisoning a chalice.
You haven't heard much then. One of the Emperor's forebears died after sampling some lamb. He was always scared of poison and ate supper with his cook. The murderer spread poison on one side of a knife. Then he cut the meat so that only a small piece was poisoned.
The witch is right. Give us Stennis.
Saskia's got her own chalice.
It was commissioned from one of the dwarves. The order came with a very detailed drawing.
Even so, how did it come into Saskia's hand?
Good question, and I'm not convinced. Those are two. I'm not convinced. Did I miss something here? Also, it's kind of interesting that for them to make up a story about this half-poisoned knife. If people are really afraid of poison and take measures to protect against poison, they usually get killed by something else other than poison. They sounded like an assassin that was really, really set on killing this king by poison or whatever.
It's not clear how the prince poisoned the wine, but that doesn't mean he didn't do it.
Stennis is blowing hot and cold. Everyone knows that.
You were supposed to prove his guilt, not insult him, yokel.
Tell us who else would do it. A peasant wanting to hurt the miss? Never. It's cause of her you noble dogs can't ignore us. A pig won't cut its own throat. A peasant's not foolish enough to raise his hand against his savior.
Perhaps it is no peasant's deed. However, that doesn't mean the prince is guilty, fool.
Answer me this. Was not Stennis' room next to Saskia's? Do not the wines come from his own lice-ridden cellar? Can he not enter the Virgin's kitchen at will? Yes. His serene dumbhead, the prince can, curses on his kin. Nobody in Vergen wants to kill Saskia. And even if they wanted, nobody but Stennis could do it.
It appears Stennis would benefit the most from Saskia's death.
Your Highness, this is dangerous.
I am not afraid. Fear is a commoner's trait, unfit for one with royal blood running in his veins. What do you want, to judge me? Is a prince a common thief who steals a dozen eggs at the market? You stand before royal majesty, and you raise your hands against it. In this world there are crimes that can be forgiven, and crimes that, by any means, cannot. Just as a mother killing her own child, or a man slitting his own brother's throat cannot be forgiven. A crime against one anointed by the gods themselves also cannot be condoned. He who raises hand against divine right is not worthy to walk this world. And what about he who poisons the Virgin of Eden? Firstly, Saskia is alive, so no one can blame me for her death. Secondly, you have no proof that it was I who tried to murder her. And thirdly, I assure all gathered here, I won't rise above the law. However, only she, the Virgin of Eden, can judge me. Can he? And if Saskia won't get well, who's gonna judge you? I believe she can be cured. But if the gods decide otherwise, we'll summon a coven of the wise who can pass just sentence.
Those are words worthy of a true sovereign.
I am the one you should look to for guidance. Let my deeds be the flame that lights up your darkness.
So you've forgotten how you tried to bribe me when I was at your house?
How about that, snout face?
This is slander.
There are no witnesses, Witcher.
You didn't say a word about your guilt or innocence. You demand justice. You want to summon a coven of the wise. But who will sit on that coven? Any peasants? No, only people you'll nominate yourself. Lords whom you'll reward with lands for reaching the right decision. Such men are to decide if you're guilty? No, you are guilty, Prince. You know you are.
Get his blood. Just get his blood. Ah, it's plenty of it then. Good stuff. It's a shame that his armor is made of paper. Either that or the peasants have lightsabers. That could be lightsabers.
The nobles won't forgive them that.
They're a cowardly lot. Yelping's all they're good at.
And backstabbing.
By Stennis' example. His filthy life wasn't taken in vain. Eilhart will get royal blood, and Saskia will be cured.
We need to hurry. We can't keep peace in Vergen with strength alone.
Anything's possible using strength. One just has to know how to use it.
That's your credo?
Saskia's the best leader I know, but she can't hope to defeat Henselt with this rabble.
What do you intend to do?
I'll get reinforcements. The Scoia'tael are more numerous than you think. Time to summon them. I'll leave shortly.
You won't get through the fog.
I don't intend to. Mountains may stop human armies, but not the Scoia'tael. I'm going south.
Will you be back in time?
I have to. Vafail, Gwynblade. Don't lose hope.
And nobody even took his body. Oh, that's good, because he has a sword. Thank you. It's good. It's good. Didn't want to examine that, but it's pretty good. Let's see if I can go back in here. Miracle. I say back, but I don't know that I have been here before by myself like this. I might have when I was exploring, but if it probably didn't have anything. Stennis' sword is a steel sword that isn't as good as Princess Zentia's sword. It doesn't even have, yeah, that thing sucks. I think it's just bad. It's just terrible pens. We got Gwynedd over here. It's pretty good, actually. that's my new sword over here. My new steel sword. I don't know where I got that. Was that... I think it might have been in the near that boat, maybe. Although, yeah, maybe not. What does it do? Vitality plus 20, damage reduction on block plus 30, stun 8%, that's a chance, and 20% bleed. I assume that is a chance as well. So that's pretty sweet. And then we have these things over here, but I don't worry about those. We have Elven Gauntlets over here that are pretty sweet. Geralt's maximum load. Thank you. That is all I need. And then we have the armor that isn't as good. At least I don't think so. They're magical as well. Cadwenny. So this is Tyson's armor, but these are, yeah, that's pretty good. They're randomly generated, as you can see, 23% and 22%. And then we have some boots that are actually better as well. Temerian jack boots instead of, yeah, I'll just use those. I don't have trousers, though, or new trousers. So we're good. Let's level up because we have experience. We might, yeah, we do have 2 level ups, and that is great. Now, Sense of Magic has been upgraded. Oh, look at that. You can tell. Let me put my mouse over here. You can tell what is double and what isn't, because it shows up as this big yellow. The other ones just show up as orange. Control over the power. All resistances plus 20%. I don't know if that applies to physical resistance. Sign damage is interesting. Adrenaline generation through signs is what I want, though. And the other one is adrenaline. It increases adrenaline generation through signs by a huge amount. And also sign damage by a huge amount. That is incredible. That's what that is. So, double control over power. I like it. And level 25. Talk to Philippa Heilhart is our objective. That would indeed be the case. But we are going to need Triss. Oh, this is where Triss Marigold, yeah. Yeah, I am concerned about Triss. Because remember, this quest started after, I think it starts after we give the scarf to Philippa. And as such, it is a quest that is in the line of us trying to find Triss. I think it's because finding Triss needs to be the last thing we do in this particular thing. I'm also in the wrong place, don't worry about it. This is the right place. Why does he not knock?
I tried locating Triss, but the mist disrupts the megascope. There's a weak signal nearby, probably on the other side.
In the Kedweni camp?
You'll have to pass through the mist.
The mist is full of wraiths.
I'll help you. I'm continuously scanning the battlefield. I'll show you the way through. I'll find you when you enter the mist.
Farewell, then.
Farewell indeed. Cross to the other side of the spectral mist. Can I talk to you a little bit more, though?
You wanted to discuss something?
Potentially, but not really.
Remember the antidote for Saskia. It's very important.
Yep, I know. That's what I wanted to tell you about. Is the blood? I have the blood.